the man versus bear drama that's going around, we do have to throw a trigger warning for assault essay out there on this particular episode because it does have some suggestive themes to it.
That it definitely it touches on that.
It does. It does absolutely. But it's a good episode. I like this one. I like it. It's one of my favorites of the original series.
Might as well. Might as well. It definitely it explores definitely more into to the side of our good side versus our bad side, you know, and how much our good relies on our bad and our bad relies on our good, you know. So
Right. Yeah, definitely.
it's a little bit more. It's deep. It's deep.
It's deep. It is deep, given the fact that I think that um even though TOS was kind of ahead of its time for some of the themes that it would bring up, and it shows definitely more lighthearted than any of the other series, especially I would say the flagship three,
Oh, of course,
TNG,
yeah.
Voyager, and DS9. DS9 got really dark, especially with the political intrigue and the war themes and stuff like that. So,
Oh, yeah, with the whole political power struggle with Vedic Win and Vedic Kai
oh
and
yeah, religion. I mean, they
woo, yeah, yeah, that was that
they
was another deep episode too. Um,
yeah,
but
they
again,
went everywhere with that one.
yep, and for again everybody that's coming in, trigger warning. We are talking about Star Trek: The Enemy Within. Um, Original series, season one, episode 6.
Six, counting we're counting as Paramount does, we're counting The Cage as episode one. But technically, I guess
It's
this would be
episode
Kirk's
7.
episode five. Episode five.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
We'll go with
I,
that.
I
Yes.
I'm an accountant, trust me. It's what I do for a living. So
So I'll trust you with the numbers.
fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
Somebody does at least. Anyway.
so we open up this scene. We open it up at the
Where are we? Alpha
uh,
177?
Alpha something. I don't know where we're at.
Alpha 177, yes.
And just doing some routine, just looking around, seeing what's happening. Looking at the local, fauna, flora, all the
This yes,
the
this
landscape
planet
and
has
everything. And so the planet has
this
a whole lot of things, stuff going on. Want to see what was
it
happening.
does, especially it also has unicorn space dogs.
Of course. Ah,
Unicorn space dogs.
unicorn space dogs. Uh, and again, I would say, out of all of the creatures that Star Trek has provided, I have to say those are the best ones.
Unicorn
Unicorns,
space dogs, yeah.
unicorn space dogs.
Yeah, I kind of want a unicorn space dog, definitely. That's going to have to be something that geneticists are going to have to come up with. Eugenics bad, but making unicorn space dogs,
I mean, you kind of say,
captain's
come on,
approval.
let us have the unicorn space dogs. We gotta have you. Let us have the unicorn space dogs. You know.
Absolutely. And you can't have an episode start without one random member of the crew. In this case, it was Fisher going and
Just
messing it up for everybody.
they're just messing it all up for everybody and just causing all of the hijinks to happen. So
Absolutely. Because what was that? He like got some. He fell down. He
he's
fell
fell
off a rock.
he fell off
And
a
he's got
rock
this.
and I guess broke his wrist. Um, Something to do with his hand, broke his hand or his wrist or something like that, and then had a whole bunch of just I guess radioactive, magnetic, yellow ore
Dust.
dust that was just
Yeah.
all over him, and it messed with the transporters and caused them to have the transporters do some wonky, wild, wonky stuff.
Now I got to say something about transporters. Okay, now this is by this point in the Star Trek timeline, transporters are in everyday use.
Correct.
They have a lot of accidents, not just in this series, but in TNG. It's just like something's always going wrong. So was McCoy really, really that
Was he really that paranoid about it?
out? I mean,
Was he
it's
really
not
that kind of?
paranoid. It's not paranoid if what you're paranoid about exists. Like,
Well, yes, that's
they're
true.
if they're coming to get you, then you're not paranoid that they're coming to get you. If it turns you inside out and into space goo on a platform, then it's not
Hmm.
paranoid to think that it's going to turn me inside out into a puddle of space goo on this platform. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
that's fair
I'm
enough.
just saying. You know.
I would say so. I mean, he did. He did have some merit. He had a lot of merit in his arguments on the against against the use of the transporter. And we see that it started out. We get the unicorn space dog beamed up, and we get two unicorn space dogs.
Well, we
Yeah.
get actually Kirk beams up
Well,
first
Kirk, yeah, and then we
because
get the
yeah,
unicorn space dog.
because because
Cause
Scotty's like, oh, what happened to the transporter? And then Kirk's like, beam me up. He's like, hang on a second. Pushes a couple buttons. He's like, everything's fine. Fisher, go clean your uniform. You look terrible. And then
and,
Kirk beams up. And then why the transporter room is empty, despite Kirk telling Scotty not to leave the transporter room empty,
well, see, don't
evil, conniving Kirk beams
well,
up.
see, then the other person that was there with Scotty, that he said, "Hey, I'm gonna do a double check on this. Go grab the equipment and come right
Right,
back."
right.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you tell him that you want to do this double check on this thing because it kind of acted weird and it's fine now, but you want to make sure that it's going to work okay, I get it. Um, but wouldn't you want to wait till he gets back first? I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah,
that would be my I don't know. That would be my take on it. I think he kind of needed to wait until he got back before he just said, "Ah, it's
I
fine.
would
It'll be
have.
alright."
It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing to worry
It's like,
about.
It's
But then
fine.
we get this gremlin thing, and I read a couple of different reviews in preparation for this episode. One of them actually called it like good Kirk and evil Kirk, and then another one called it positive and negative. I actually like that
Mm,
definition better
yeah,
because I don't know that it was evil. I mean, if he was evil, why did he just
right.
do everything that he wanted to do, which he didn't quite, but
Yeah, because
came
I
close.
mean, well, let's not forget just Kirk and himself. He's not like that high on the moral scale. Um, I mean, yeah, he does some good stuff every now and again, but I mean, let's not forget he's not really that high up on the morality scale. Um, to
No, no,
begin with,
he's a womanizer, and he's always quick to go to fisticuffs
right?
if the
So
situation
let's
was
just let's just not say he's the greatest guy to begin with. So so it's more or less kind of his positive and negative was one that was a little less violent than the other one.
right, right. But I think this is probably as passive in any episode that you'll ever see William Shatner portray Kirk, because
But
they are split into
yes,
two,
that is true.
and you get the positive one. It's kind of like, and then the other
And
one,
then
it's just like evil grin the whole time. Give me
here's a
brandy. Like that's his first thing,
said,
right to
"Give me
sit down.
brandy." That he wants something to drink, and then he sees poor Yeoman Rand. Every episode, poor Yeoman Rand, she always just catches it every time.
Every time, every time. Yeah, unfortunately, she
And
we've said this before in previous episodes. She takes so much abuse through this series for
and
being a high-ranking woman on the Enterprise.
yes, and it's just every episode. Just Yeoman Rand, I feel sorry for you. I really do feel sorry for you. Every episode. And the first
Yeah,
thing, and then soon as the negative Kirk gets all liquored up, he sees Yeoman Rand, and then, oh, hey, let me get some of that. And what
right,
is he do?
exactly. Using all those old tropes, like don't fight me, let's stop pretending, blah blah. Just
Says,
like, oh,
I see how you look at me, and I look at you. We feel the same way. Don't try to fight it. And it's like, yo, bruh, no, 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 no. Stop, stop, stop right now. Stop right
right.
now. Stop right now. Stop right now. Stop right now. Stop right now. And
Which I think is it's actually a theme
yeah,
again. It comes up with the whole man bear thing that's been going around. One of the things I heard women talking about was like the reason that the bear is chosen is because, when a man says no, he means no. But to a man, when a woman says no, it means, oh, the negotiations have begun.
yeah, it just means if a woman to a man, if a man says no, then it's no. If a woman says no, it's like, hmm,
It quickly
antagonize,
becomes coer,
just
co
antagonize me until I say yes. That
yes,
that's
it quickly becomes coercion.
yeah, that apparent that's what what he would hear instead of just hearing no. It's like, and again, it's the theme of this whole episode seems to tie in coincidentally with this whole man versus bear thing.
It worked out
And
well. It worked out well. And meantime, Kirk is being confronted by Spock. Spock is like, I just talked to Dr. McCoy and he said
he
you
said,
came down to sick bay screaming and yelling and give me
that,
brandy. And
and then
positive Kirk's like,
it's like, I've been right here, man. I haven't done nothing. And it seems like just with McCoy, and I don't get it, is he's supposed to be the ship's doctor. He's supposed to be the one that makes kind of a judgment decision on somebody that is okay. He's not acting in his normal right mind. If somebody would come up like that, captain or not, and just say, "Give me brandy now," okay, that's
especially McCoy.
right. And why would you just cave in and give that to him? You're the doctor. You said that. It's like, yo, no, it's no. You're not getting anything. Doctor's orders. You're off. I'm taking you off duty because something's not right with you.
Anybody looking at him would know that that's not the right behavior. And,
Yes.
and I said, we're going back to the scene where kind of these dual scenes are happening at the same time. But, Kirk, the negative Kirk is trying to take advantage of Rand. She scratches his face.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fisher, the guy who screwed it up for everybody, um, happens to be the one that comes along
And
and
sees,
sees everything happening.
yeah. And
And
then
if
here's
you've
the thing.
served,
And I'm
if
sorry.
you've served with this, I'm just saying, if you've served with Kirk for any amount of time, even though I know he
Hmm.
has to give his eyewitness statement, you should still be like, he was not acting like himself. Something ain't right.
Yeah. He's like something was really off because Captain's never done anything like that. And
No.
he's never had the look in his face like that. He's never done anything like that. And this is something that it could cost him everything. And what made it so bad was McCoy being the doctor that clearly could have stopped it from the very beginning. He enabled Kirk, even the positive Kirk and the negative Kirk, just enabled it to happen. And
Yeah.
Spock, even logical Spock, and then wanting to make sure that everything is on the up and up, and everybody's good. He even kind of turned the other way when Kirk was doing stuff, and then the positive Kirk was like, "Hey, come on, Spock, it's me.
It,
Hey, come
it,
on, guy.
McCoy was joking
Ah,
with
come
you.
on,
He's joking.
come on, was McCoy's pulling your leg." and then of course Spock wanted to, I guess, some form of wanted to be accepted or friendship or whatever the case may be, or some weird sense of loyalty that trying to hide something. I don't know. But he just kind of turned a blind eye and enabled Kirk to let it happen too.
Yeah.
And when the yeoman, she came and made her report and say, the captain did this, he was that, and he had this brandy. And then the first thing instantly is like, of course, you're going to say, Kirk was going to say, I wasn't here, I didn't do it. And that was the positive one, and he was telling the truth. But then
Right.
what ends up happening is that immediately, because he's the captain and he's one of the boys, and he's like, come on, Spock, it's me. I wouldn't do anything like that. And McCoy, come on. You see me, I wouldn't go in the sick bay and do anything like that. And
I know.
come on. And you say you
Yes.
scratched me. Look at my face. Do I look scratched? Come
Not just
on.
problematic behavior from the negative Kirk, but problematic behavior from
From
his friends
positive.
that are
Yeah, from
right,
the
that are
yes. And
reinforcing
just
it, that behavior.
reinforcing it, and then clearly just looking at the yeoman and just like, are you sure it happened? What happened? You said what happened, and then instantly it goes right into, again, like how it does in real life, that something would happen to a woman, and she makes that, she makes it known, and then is immediately just like,
And nobody believes her.
ah,
And nobody believes her.
exactly.
Yet more recurring themes from the man versus bear argument. Are there space bears that we can choose in the 23rd century?
It's got
Are
to
there
be.
space bears?
It's got
I'm
to
sure.
be. It's
Didn't
got.
Spock have a pet as a kid that was like a giant fanged space bear kind of thing?
Oh yes, that's right. He did. That was his teddy bear, wasn't it?
His teddy bear, yes. Yes, on Vulcan, the teddy bears weigh so many pounds and have 6-inch fangs and blah, blah, blah. But I would still think, too, that McCoy, since we don't ever establish that in Kirk's time they have like shipboard counselors, I would think that you would have to. I don't know why they wouldn't, but probably just an
Right.
oversight by the writing crew then. But I would think McCoy should be able to easily tell, okay, well, if the person who attacked you was under the influence of alcohol, I mean, we have breathalyzers today. I think can't McCoy just go woo 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 with his little device and and tell him his blood alcohol content?
Yeah.
I would
I
seems to
I
me
would
that should be a thing.
yeah, I would think that would be, you know, something that you can do. Um, because we can do that now. So we should be able to do it, you know, 300 years in the future.
Right, right. No, but what can I say? Again, I don't even think that they really intended to explore some of the more trigger warning worthy themes that we're even talking about. Again, it just coincides with man versus bear. But
Yeah.
really, I think it was more about, the duality of man kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, as opposed to, the good versus evil, the as that opposed to thing, as opposed to, um he just essayed a woman and you're now completely gaslighting her and dismissed her. Okay, that whole thing was just completely brushed away. Is that
And let's talk about the fact that like I know that you could separate like I can look at myself objectively and say, okay, here's some of my good traits, here's some of my bad traits. And if I were to split into two people with those traits going to either side, I don't think that my bad side would commit sexual assault against somebody because that's not one of my negative traits, I
right?
guess, that I would do
Because
that to somebody. So
because
so weird.
it's not like that's something that is you know hmm
But
Nah,
again, Kirk is a womanizer, so maybe that is a an
that's
exaggeration of that side of his personality. Like, well, I like women, and when I'm just all normal, I'm like, wink, wink, baby. And then when I'm split in two, the other side's like, forget the wink. Let's
I
just,
guess the logical extent would be would be just that.
yeah, let's stop pretending, Janice. Don't
Stop
resist
it.
me. And I hate to laugh. I hate to laugh because it's not a funny situation, but still, it is what it is. But
Right.
now we've got a good Kirk, and instead of McCoy doing that, little, I can see if you're drunk or not in 2 seconds, which he should be able to do. It's Spock, of course, who deduces that there must be an imposter
Oh yes,
because,
must be an imposter because it's not like the captain would do anything like that. No, no, no.
and we can at least use the fact that Janice said, "Look, I scratched you," and then Kirk is like, "Look, on my face, there's no scratches. I haven't been scratched." So I mean that, not to say that that should have been automatically dismissive of Janice's claims, but you know,
Right.
again, we're still talking about a show made in the '60s, and you couldn't even have the man bear conversation back then. You would just be shut down.
Yes, exactly.
Period.
Because it's like, oh well, of course it's you want to be in there with a man, not a bear. The bear will maul you. Oh, you don't want to be in there. And
Yeah,
so,
and
yeah,
women knowing that back then that the punishments towards men for engaging those kind of behaviors were less than what they are now, and they're still far below what they should be. But even less than, knowing they can't say anything, they can't argue back and give you reasons why we choose the bear, because um, you know they might get wrapped in the mouth later that
yeah,
night.
yeah.
So they stay silent and they don't do anything. It's sad, really. But
And so, the one good thing, it
Scotty
did,
finds the dust, though. He finds the
he did
dust
find the dust.
on the
The
transporter.
And so that whole kind of scene, it really does paint out, illustrate it perfectly as to how it happened, how somebody would the victim would be gaslit, how the whole thing would just occur and happen. Because instead of just Spock was like, Captain, what you do? No, he's like, well, there's got to be an imposter.
There has to be an
Hmm.
imposter. We can't keep him
And
in.
so again, that's
We
just Spock enabling.
Right. We
Because
can't keep him in, as second, as first officer, second in charge of the ship. I would think, well, maybe, and you're not acting right. People have seen some weird behavior. McCoy saw it, Rand has
hmm
seen it, Fisher's seen it. Maybe we should keep you in sick bay for a while and just
yeah,
evaluate.
keep you in sick bay and make sure somebody has an eye on you.
Yeah, at
Cause
least until the report comes in that Captain Kirk was on deck 4 doing something else to somebody else.
right,
I'm like, well, no,
then
he
it's
was
like,
here
oh
with
wait,
us the whole time.
no wait, he was here in sick bay because I was literally here watching him. So then after that, then it would be, oh, there is an imposter, and he may actually be innocent. Cause okay, now see, there's somebody there that looks like Kirk. He's doing some really effed up stuff down there. So we need to take care of that now.
We need to go take care of that now. And all the while, Sulu and his buddies are are freezing. We
So,
can't beam them up
and
because
you know,
we've got
we got
two
one.
space
We got two
space dog unicorns,
unicorns, and we got
right? And
two Kirks, and one is one is committing all kinds of atrocities, while the other one is, hey, come on, guys, come on, it's not me. I never want to do anything like that. While one's doing all kinds of effed up stuff, and the other one's covering up for him. So, and everybody else is helping the other guy cover up for him.
right?
Yeah,
Right? And then even then, Kirk, positive Kirk at this point is telling Spock like, well, we should inform the crew of what's going on. But then Spock even then is like, no,
Spock's like,
no, you'll lose the ship, man. Wow, that escalated quickly.
he's like, because you're the captain. You're supposed to show strength. You're supposed to be strong. You're not supposed to show any kind of weakness. You're not supposed, and weakness is the truth. So you have to lie and be strong. And as I wrote that that's that's the message. That's what we're putting out.
Message
That's what we're putting out in the universe. That
in the 23rd century, no less. Because I don't care how strong you are. You could be. I can't even think because I don't watch wrestling anymore. I can't think of like big, powerful wrestlers that are out there. But like, I don't care how big and strong you are. You're walking down the street, and a piano falls on your head. That's not necessarily a sign that you're weak. It's a sign that a piano fell on your head. An accident happened, and I'm
mm,
sorry, you're only flesh and bone. Things happen. So,
yes, and it's like yeah, I mean, it just
the
happens.
logic,
It
the
happens,
logic.
and the
Spock's
logic
logic is questionable in this episode.
it is, and it's it's because and again, like I've noticed it through the whole thing, and it's McCoy and Spock that are just covering up and enabling Kirk, and instead of okay, we need to keep an eye on actual Kirk here and see if what the heck is really actually going on. No, Spock is like, well, oh, it's an imposter. Somebody else did it. That's your friend. You ought to know whether or not it's somewhere deep down in him that he would do some kind of effed up stuff.
Yeah, that he's certainly
You would know something.
capable of it. He's certainly capable of it.
Yeah, or even if he wouldn't, cross that actual threshold of it, but he would do really questionable things. And even
Well,
then, and even
sure.
then, the questionable things is his good side is holding him from doing the crossing that line. So you know your friend. You know your friend. You know he would do some effed up stuff. Captain or not, you know that's your friend and you know he would do some horrible, messed up stuff to that yeoman. And you've seen him talk to her the way he's talked to her. You've heard him say the things that he said to her. You've heard him just could be completely misogynistic towards her and just completely disrespect her and then just be like, come on.
Yeah, I don't fully get the logic there, but it is what it is, I guess. I would just think that given patterns I've seen and some men, especially the ones who are fairly successful getting with various amounts of women, the more and more successful they are, the more and more it goes to their head, and the more and more that they feel entitled to it.
Hmm.
So when they get that rejection, they can't in their minds fathom it. So I would think at this point, we all know Kirk gets his. He gets his
Yeah,
blue, green, human or otherwise. It doesn't matter. He gets his. So I would think he's very
he's very, very entitled.
used to it. Very,
He,
very entitled. Absolutely. Youngest captain in Starfleet at the time. I mean, his
yep,
ego has got to be
just absolutely massive. Just because
massive.
one being the youngest captain in Starfleet, and then A being the captain, and B the youngest one, and then C, everywhere he goes, he's always like, "Hey, what's up? Come on!" And then all the panty, all the green, blue, gold skin, all
Doesn't
the
matter.
doesn't matter.
They're all dropping. They're all dropping.
All dropping. All alien panties dropping. All of them dropping. Doesn't matter. All Kirk has to do is say, "Hey, Captain Kirk, USS Enterprise,"
Right, exactly.
and a
And
whole
you're probably talking about a man too whose reputation precedes him just
yeah,
about everywhere he goes, at least in Federation space.
yeah, of course. And
So
then and who knows how many baby mamas he has just on each planet. You never know because
yeah, I
yeah,
find it hard to believe that he's only canonically has one child. I find that
that's like
I find that difficult
that what we know of.
that we know of, right? Yeah, I mean they're probably scattered all around at least the beta quadrant. That's where Earth is, right? Earth's in the beta quadrant.
I thought we
I
called
think that's
Earth the
where
Alpha Quadrant and moved out from there.
I thought
Because I
so
mean that was
too.
that.
I was looking at a map though. Let's see. Well, I'm just going to consult the Oracle.
I mean, because that would just seem like that'd be the most logical, egotistical way for us to be. Is like we
Oh
live in
yeah,
the Alpha
okay.
Quadrant.
It is in the Alpha Quadrant. Yeah, no, you're right. See, and maybe I'm just getting a little mixed up too, playing a lot of that Star Trek Online, but it seems like a lot of the main focus and main villain, enemies and stuff like that are in the Beta Quadrant. Like
Hmm.
Kronos is in the Beta Quadrant. Um, I believe that Romulus was in the Beta Quadrant. The Mutara Nebula is in the Beta Quadrant.
Yep.
So, but regardless, doesn't matter. So yeah, that does make sense, especially given the fact that Earth is sector 001. Okay. That's not arrogant. Like we're number one.
No.
It's like the kids in that Charlie Brown Goes to Camp cartoon, right? And they got the kids in a motorboat in a little river race, and they're like, "We're number one. We're number one."
Yes.
Somehow though,
So
we did get back to the bridge though, and I don't know if they had another conversation about it. I just watched it, but I mean, um, Kirk does make the announcement.
yeah,
You know,
the
there's an
positive Kirk
imposter,
is to he gets to the
and he'll
bridge and
have
then he makes the
scratches on his
announcement. Yeah,
face.
makes the announcement of there's an imposter and he has scratches on his face and at this point they don't know if he knows all of the things the captain knows or anything like that, and they're just thinking is that oh well he's just some dude that's just dressed up like the captain.
Yeah, they don't know that it's actually a part of Kirk, or even someone who they just know it's somebody who's pretending to be or acting in the
Mm,
captain's name or something. Meanwhile, though, negative Kirk is in actual Kirk's quarters,
yeah.
and smashing monitors and stuff at this announcement. Freaking oh, Captain Kirk.
He's like, I am Kirk. I am Kirk. And it's like, yo, man.
This is Captain Kirk. This is Captain Kirk's the women moment.
The women. I am
The
Kirk.
women.
And so yeah, he's
uh,
the positive Kirk makes the announcement, and the negative Kirk goes into hiding, and then the
well, I don't. I did want to touch on this because this is something that's
hmm
important. Now, not that I'm dissing anybody. Like if a man wants to wear makeup, we live
hmm
in a world where you can do that. There is no problem with that. I don't necessarily think of Kirk as that kind of person, though. So, why did Kirk have makeup on his dresser in his quarters? Did one of his girls leave it there? Like, if she stopped by one night and she had to powder
you
her
would
nose before she left.
well you would think
Just
that
wondering.
you'd
But
think that,
he's got like perfect foundation that matches his own skin tone.
yeah,
Well,
I
maybe
would
Kirk's got a little metrosexuality
yeah.
in him. Maybe he's
I mean, you'd think so. You know that it'd be one of his conquests that they would leave there, but seeing as how it matched him perfectly, I was like, hmm, nah,
as someone
man.
who buys foundation. I have to go, and it's not like looking at eyeshadow or something. I just go, oh, I like that color eyeshadow or that color eyeshadow. With foundation, I have to go, okay, does this match my skin tone?
Yeah. It's
It's
like
just a process.
it's a
Process.
process because it's not like it's a one size fit all type of thing where it's like, oh, psh, looks good, that'll
Mhm.
work. No. So the simple fact is that he has that and it matches his exact skin tone. That tells me is
So I'm
that
just
yeah, he doesn't like the wrinkles. So
he
he likes
doesn't
to
like the
keep his face
wrinkles.
baby smooth.
Yeah, if he existed in the 20th or 21st century, he'd definitely one of those guys. He'd wear the wrinkle-free khakis, and he'd always have a nice golf shirt
Oh
on. His
yeah.
hair's all. I mean, he's always, even the in the reboots, what Scotty call him, Captain Captain Perfect Hair or whatever.
Yes.
So,
And again,
he's got the hair.
he'd be that guy. He would be that guy that would he would be completely straight, but he would be the one that he would go and get the manicure and the pedicure
Oh
and
yeah,
he would
oh
get
yeah.
the hairstylist and yeah,
If
the
he's
whole
not
nine.
climbing, if he's not climbing mountains and doing manly stuff, he's definitely a loafer kind of guy.
Oh
I'm just saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the simple fact is that he had the makeup like that and just like
Just
bam.
something I know. It's like wow, it's just right there on his dresser and his quarters. And I've seen his quarters a lot. I never got the impression that Kirk was a messy person. His room's always pretty tidy. He just happens
It,
to have perfect
he
foundation on them. I don't know.
just happened to have, foundation that perfectly matches his skin.
What
Yeah.
what do they call that? And I don't know if it applies to objects, but like a what's it called, a Rube Goldberg device. Think of it like the Hobbit movies. Remember how they're going down the river in the barrels and just everything works out perfectly all along the way,
Yeah.
so that they don't fall out or drown or get smashed to pieces on rocks or something. I
Yep.
think it's called a Rube Goldberg device, but
That
I don't know
that's
if that applies to the makeup.
I'm not sure if that will call it or that or that falls into the magic MacGuffin.
Wouldn't a MacGuffin be something though that's necessary to the plot? Like the Genesis device would be the MacGuffin of Star Trek Two.
Well, yeah.
It was the
Mm.
magical destroy the whole plot device. Like if this blows
Yeah.
up, it's over. Or
Oh,
or giant space probes that talk to whales. Whatever.
yeah. I think you got a visitor behind you.
Oh,
I just saw
let me
hands.
check.
I just saw hands. No, I mean,
Okay, I got that. Fortunately, I've got two of my kids here, so I've got one that can help out. I told her, I said, hey, I need to do my show, and then, but she wants ice cream and all that fun stuff, and she's just impatient. She cannot wait, but she's going to wait. So I've got some help, so we're good. Anyway,
that's all right.
whether dogs or kids, we always have some kind of
Just
unscripted thing, but not that we're
always
scripted
got
anyway.
something.
Always got
Real life
something.
had to spill in somehow. And so yeah, I guess maybe that would be the. I guess that because when negative Kurt put the makeup on, then again he used that as a way to gaslight the yeoman as well. It's like, look, I don't have a scratch mark. See, I don't have one either.
Yep. After the whole crew has already been informed that there's an imposter, and Kirk's now walking, negative Kirk is walking down the corridor, and this random security guy walks by, and Kirk's just like, give me your phaser. And he's
He's like,
not really acting like positive Kirk. He's a little,
yeah,
twitchy.
and you can see
And the
like
dude's
just
just like,
by how he's walking, and he's just like kind of,
and dude's just like, okay, here, have my phaser. And then,
and
you
then
know,
oh,
good
you
night,
heard
good night, take a nap.
he said, yeah, it's crazy that looking for this imposter. Like
And some
ah,
twitchy. some twitchy guy that looks like Kirk comes around the corner and asks for my gun. I don't look. I mean, I'm a gun owner. I have friends and stuff that are gun
Mhm.
owners and like guns. When I've shown my firearms to people before, I always drop the mag, clear the chamber, and hand them an empty weapon. It's not that, like, say my dad is looking at it. It's not that I don't trust him, but one, that's just proper
Mhm.
gun etiquette, and two, I'm not handing someone else a loaded weapon
Yeah, that's just common sense.
and leaving myself unarmed. It's not happening.
Yeah,
So
this is common sense.
Starfleet security training needs to be upgraded. But then again, we haven't even gotten to the red shirts yet. That trope hasn't even
Mhm.
started yet by
No,
episode 6. It's still people in blue shirts getting whacked and
that
gold
and
shirts,
and even just people in just overalls
people in
and
overalls,
jumpsuits,
right?
and
Jumpsuits
it's
and
but and here's the thing: if you're in security as well, and every you're dealing with security, okay, and you know you're looking for Kirk, whether or not you know if it's the captain or the imposter or what, you don't know. And so with anybody that looks like Kirk, your security, first thing you should do is put your hands up,
absolutely.
not
And
just like
security, they're basically military police, right?
yeah,
That's what I'm assuming.
yeah,
I mean,
essentially yeah. That because I mean security is like this. All right, you know you're after Kirk. Okay, you know for sure where one of them is at the bridge. Okay, so two security people go to the bridge, get that Kirk. Two security people go and grab the other Kirk. Security knows where the one Kirk is because the one Kirk is now either in sick bay or in the brig where they can keep a close eye on him and they know 100% for a fact Kirk is here. And now they're able to freely look for the other Kirk.
right, right, exactly,
That only makes
exactly.
sense. But Oda wasn't there, so we can't blame that because Oda wasn't there.
I just think that, growing up, one of my best friends in high school, their dad was a police officer. And like we literally could not walk out of the house into the garage with a wrench to tighten the trucks on our skateboards without being interrogated about what we were going kind of trouble we were going to be causing with that wrench. Like
Yeah,
ch-
it's
chill,
like
bro. I
it's like
mean, come
you know,
on, man.
just trying to tighten these wheels up, bro. That's just just trying to tighten the stuff up so I could skate. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. So I just think handing over the gun was a little bit. But again,
But
we're just writers have 40 minutes to get the story done.
yeah,
And
and
but it's
then
fun to break it down and be like, hey, that's not right, man. That's not right, dude.
there's I mean that's security. So I mean you kind of you like why would he even just hand his gun over like that too? Is my is my additional question. Is like because you know and
Well,
you've heard the announcement that there's an
there's an
imposter Kirk.
imposter that looks like Kirk, right?
So why would you randomly run up on Captain Kirk and you say, "Hand me your phaser"? Like, whoa,
And
hold
we've
up.
seen in the past how this has also worked. I mean, I'm not sure that, Kirk and them were watching Batman 1989 in the 23rd century, but what happened every time the Joker asked somebody for their gun?
Always. Let me see your gun.
Bob,
Check, check.
Bob,
Boom.
gun, bang.
Yeah. First thing, he'd look at it, make sure it's loaded, and then bang. I'm gonna miss Bob. You're my new number one.
You're my new number one.
Yeah,
We,
so
we
now,
we've stopped just shy of like Kirk on the intercom, like something straight out of Return of the Living Dead, like send more security.
yeah, like just before it's like,
Oh
You'll
gosh.
never
So
find me. And so then the positive Kirk decides, along with Spock, they're going to go on a hunt and try to find negative Kirk.
well, they have
Because,
to because I mean, Sulu really wants some coffee at this point.
yeah, and
You know.
I can understand that. I get that. I mean, coffee's
Yeah.
coffee is the.
I want to. I want to know why they weren't heating up the rocks initially, though, with their phasers. That was one of my first thoughts. Like, heat up the
I
rock
don't
with the
know.
phaser.
I think maybe it's maybe because they were worried about draining their energy reserves or something on it. Maybe they had a
Could
finite
be.
battery.
Could be. It could be. And they did. Sulu did mention at one point. He's like, "We're using the phasers to heat the rocks, but two of them are out already. They're
Yeah,
already not working anymore." So
yeah.
it is
So
what it is.
so it that could be happening. Yeah, but and again, hitting rocks would be the best way to go on that one because they're how how heavy the wind and how cold it was. Hitting wood or any kind of anything flammable like that, it would just been immediately put out. So he
Yeah,
did right in
true.
hitting the rocks, but then again,
And they did.
hitting the
They
rocks
did.
it take a while. So
They did try to beam down some heaters though, and they
they
got
just didn't work
non-functional. Yeah, non-functional junk is what they got. So
because it's too
yeah.
cold. It was just
But
too
yeah,
cold.
we got to go to engineering and hunt for negative Kirk.
And and again, my one of my only questions I have. Okay, Enterprise, they should have a shuttle. Should have a shuttle that could go
That
down, but I don't know if it was one of
good
those
point.
things
I
where
thought of that too.
it was too cold, or whether or not if it couldn't go through the atmosphere, or weather, or just whatever conditions. But I just feel that it could have been solved a lot quicker with just sending a shuttle down. As soon as you realize, oh, the transport is bad, get a shuttle ready, and then
Sometimes things just work or are used because they have to work in for the plot, and that's where I think you get some lazy writing sometimes. I was just watching a next gen episode the other day where some kid, I don't remember which episode it was, he steals a shuttle and Picard's like, beam him back. And they're like, he's out of transporter range. Like, dude, you beam people up and down from planets. You're orbiting what, 60, 70, 80 miles above the surface of the planet? How far away did he get on impulse? You're
yeah,
literally watching him fly away on external camera and he's out of transporter range already. That's lazy writing. I'm sorry.
yeah, that's true. Because sometimes they just make it. Sometimes they're not. It just more or less kind of depends on the story and where they want to go with it.
Now,
But
Spock does the old neck pinch on negative Kirk, doesn't he? Does he
yes,
do it in this one?
yep,
Yes.
yep, that he does. Because they get into positive and negative. Kirk get into a struggle, and Spock comes up from behind and pinch out. And
Right,
so
right.
now everybody's thinking, hooray! We got negative Kirk, we got positive Kirk. We know where all the Kirks are. Now we just got to figure out what we're gonna do about this janky transporter. And now, what we're going to do about getting all Sulu and everybody else up, because they need a cup of coffee.
They need a cup of coffee. They deserve a cup of coffee. They deserve more than, all the coffee. Call the chef, the meatloaf guy from Charlie X, and be like, hey, cancel the meatloaf dinner. When Sulu gets back, he wants all the coffee, okay?
Yes, he needs all the coffee.
All the coffee. While
So,
negative Kirk is laying in bed screaming at everybody.
So, yeah, so pretty much as kind of this point, we just kind of keep going back and forth with the positive and the negative. The morality of mankind's positive side and their negative side, the good versus evil, and you know how one can't live without the other, and now we see that both Kirks are now starting to die because they're literally just been apart for so long.
Yeah, they can't exist without each other, I guess, at this point. So
Yeah, so now Scotty has got to find a way to get the transporter working, even though he said it'll take a week. Said, bro, we don't have a week, we got an hour.
Scotty never has a week or anything. I mean, it doesn't matter. I need 6 hours. You've got two. I need a week. You've got 12 minutes. But I've got to have 30 minutes. Well, you don't have 30 minutes.
So you say, I need 30 minutes. You got 5. Best I could do.
Yep. Well, I can't change the laws of physics. What you're going to have to.
Well,
All right. It's just do it.
well, I'm not asking you to change the laws. I'm just asking you to find a shortcut.
Yeah. This is a Nike commercial, man. Just do it. Just do it.
Says
So
it's got to happen. It's got to happen. So yeah, we going through that and just the morality arguing back and forth while Scotty's fixing everything, and then
they got to do the test
yes,
on the
on the
space on
on
the
the
space
space
dog
uni-
unicorns,
on the space dog
unicorn space
unicorn,
dogs. Right, right.
and
And
then
the one dies,
uh,
or it dies when
it
it's
dies.
reintegrated
Yeah,
into itself. Yeah.
and they figure, well, why did it die? Well, it went into shock. It was scared because it didn't know what was happening. Huh? And again, that
And
that didn't make much sense to me. Simply because to me, I don't think your emotional state would play that big of a role into the shock of being brought back together. I didn't think it would play that big of a role into it. I would think it would give you more of a sense of I would say like feeling whole, but definitely just feeling like you have more of your strength back. You feeling like yourself.
oh,
But
absolutely, absolutely. But again, we're talking about a lesser, lower life form, I guess. Maybe not.
yeah, but
I don't know. Hard to say. It's
yeah,
to
but you
create
gotta yeah,
drama, like,
yeah.
oh no, now what are we going to do? It didn't work. The unicorn space dog died. What's going to happen to Kirk now?
And you think and the way Sulu was holding it, that was gonna be his new that was gonna be his new little buddy, the
Yeah.
unicorn space dog. Like you go back to Earth and you're like, haha, got me a unicorn space dog. Y'all ain't got this. I know it.
That would definitely be one of the wonderful things about having a parent that worked in space. Like I used to get excited when my dad went to Dallas or something. Like, what'd you bring me? What'd you bring me? Like, wow, you were just on
Yeah,
Alpha 177. You brought me a unicorn space dog. Like, wow. It's freaking amazing, man. Freaking
yeah.
amazing. Thank you.
I like my dad. He was in the military and he would go overseas something and he'd bring me back a toy. Like what? It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Your friends are over here like, my dad went to Dallas and all I got was this stupid t-shirt and you're over here holding your unicorn space dog like,
It's like
sorry about your luck.
oh,
My dad's
said
cooler than your dad.
oh have fun over there. I'll be over here chilling with my unicorn space dog.
And this, I believe, is the very first episode when we finally get the full "he's dead" Jim, when referring
Yes,
to the
to
dead
the
unicorn space dog.
unicorn
He's
space
dead,
dog
Jim.
we get a it's dead Jim.
We've had "he's dead." We've had Jim. He's
And he's dead.
dead. We've had all of
Now
them,
the-
but now we've got "he's dead" Jim. So the tropes are starting, they're beginning. I have a
So
knock on
which
my door.
it was funny enough. Funny enough, one of the um, more popular sayings was, "Scotty, beam me up," in which he's never said that.
Or
He's
beam me up, Scotty.
beam
That
me up,
was yeah,
Scotty.
that was
He's
was
never
never
said
said.
that. He said, "Mr. Scott,
No.
beam me up."
Yep. Energize or four to beam up or
Something like that, but he's never said, "Beam me up, Scotty."
never said beam me up, Scotty. Yeah, there's always those fun little tropes there. I got a knock
And
at my
so,
door. 1 second here.
yeah, no problem. And so, at this point, I'm just kind of carrying on the conversation and everybody that's kind of listening and whatnot. Um, as they're just kind of discussing moralities and everything like that, the evil Kirk escapes. And so, as the evil Kirk escapes, and he's trying to plot and plan and scheme his way to, he won't have to be integrated back again because he wants to have his own life and he wants to live separately, and that's all fine and good. But you've got to, you're gonna die, man, if you don't get integrated back together with your positive half, because your positive half needs you as much as you use the negative half, and the positive need each other.
We
So
got to do it one. We got to do it one way or the other.
yeah,
I have to step away for 30 seconds. I will be right back.
all right, take your time, do what you got to do, be an adult. So as we're going through, and as the evil Kirk is got to the bridge, and he's ordering everybody to kind of pull away from orbit and move away, positive Kirk comes in. See positive Kirk and negative, they have their whole exchange, and then we see more of the dual morality of the evil and the positive and the negative, and them both wanting to exist individually, but knowing that they can't exist individually, that they have to coexist simultaneously. And again,
Yeah,
which
because I could
brings in,
I could see how Kirk wouldn't want, he under I think they're all trying to convince him that he needs that part of himself to make him whole. And he's understanding that, but at the same time, kind of like, I don't
he's
really
like,
want those bad things. Those are horrible.
yeah, it's like if I could just figure out, well, a way to make a decision real quick, I really don't need that other half or that other side of me. And which I get it, both of them, they want to be their own individual people and have their own lives, and that's all great, fine and good. Not so good for Yeoman Rand, but I understand, your whole want and need to be your own people, live your own separate lives, be your own boss, so to speak.
Yeah,
But
and we can't have negative Kirk running around
but we
though. It'll
can't
just cause too much
yeah,
ruckus.
we can't have negative Kirk running around because you know
No.
one Kirk is bad enough. Now we got two of them, and whew, and one of them, oh my god, one of them just absolute pure hell, just hell. Like no other way to say it, just hell.
Yeah, yeah, there's no other way to really describe that. But still we gotta
Yeah,
get them reintegrated, but we can't do that and not have negative Kirk get away again
oh, of
and
course, but
cause
then
some more trouble.
of course, got to have that one last just kind of ah. Let me get that one last try to. I need my plan to win, and
And he still can't leave Rand alone.
still can't leave Rand alone. Because the first thing he does is like, I need to explain what happened. There's an imposter, and I'll explain to you tonight at your quarters. You don't
That
mind, do
right there,
you?
that right there should have been like, I
It's
mean,
like,
he was
whoa.
he was standing at attention, saluting his red flag as he raised it for all to see. Like
Oh, he raised field of red flags, like a whole line of them. Just every red flag
I
he raised with just that one line, and it was
that
like,
one line. Because
yo,
even if
oh,
Janice is aware, even if Janice is aware of the fact that Kirk has been split into two, the real Kirk would never have said that to her in real life, would never have come to her and said, hey, you know, there's this mission coming up. Want to come talk about it in my quarters? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, like,
yeah, and it's like, no, Kirk wouldn't do that. He is. Don't get me wrong. He is not the king of morality, but at the
and
same time, he does understand kind of his duties as a Starfleet captain, and he does push those boundaries when it comes to something like that. You know,
and I need someone to check into this too, maybe. Of all the women that Kirk has been with in the show, has he ever actually hooked up with a crew member or somebody under his direct command?
I I don't remember. I don't ever remember him hooking up with anyone under his crew. I just remember um
Various
just random,
alien women.
various and random alien women.
So I wonder if, like, at least,
Other
again, you don't
than
get to be the youngest captain in Starfleet by making stupid decisions. I would think he would be responsible enough that, you know what, I can't really be getting it on with my crew members.
uh,
That would just look bad. That would look bad.
no, at least not in the Kelvin universe. Now he Kirk hooked up with Uhura, but
Well, he tried to.
yeah, that's it. He tried to,
She was with
but
Spock,
she
and
was with Spock.
I still have thoughts about that, but we're not even close to that yet. But
But yeah, so he tried. Gotta give him that he tried.
yeah, he did try. He definitely tried. They don't
So
have
yeah,
first names on your planet.
and then at the same time, miraculously, Scotty has the transporter fixed, and here comes the discussion of should we do it? Should we not do it? Do we need to test it? We need to not test it. How long do we need to test? Blah 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 blah. And then everybody's just going back and forth with Spock and McCoy and Kirk. All of them just kind of still enabling Kirk as like we'll be all right, but we could do this, and still kind of just and again
Yeah,
kind of just dusting everything under the rug, wanting to make sure everything goes away. It's just like what, and then Kirk, along with some, I think if I remember right, it was a little bit of pushing from Spock because this, I guess, finally when Spock kind of realized that this is not right, and I think I need to say something. And he finally said something, and then which Kirk may go, "Oh, you're right. Let's go use the transporter now." And which he did, joined together, and we see there that he has the scratch. It's it's still healed. It's healing up, but he does have the scratch, and
he does have the scratch. Don't think that's going to go away. He's
he
going
has
to
the
have to
scratch.
deal with
That's
that for a few days.
oh yeah. He's gonna use all the makeups, all that foundation he has. He's using all of that.
All of it, all of it. But and let's not forget that before we got to this moment, Evil Kirk did try. He did go to the bridge and he was like, "Let's get out of here." And
Yeah.
Helmsman's like, "What? What about Sulu?" And Evil
You
Kirk
say?
or Negative Kirk is like,
That'd be alright, man. Just let's go.
I don't even care. Let's just go."
Said, that'd be alright. This somebody come along and get them. They'd be alright. Throw a couple blankets down. They got blankets already. They'd be fine.
That'll be fine. He'll be. That was another thing. Why didn't they beam down inanimate objects? Like, okay, you beam down even more blankets.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I guess maybe because that they figured the heaters or whatever that they sent down, those just kind of froze up. I guess I'm
Yeah,
guessing they
you
figured
could
that it was all just going to freeze down as soon as it touched down anyway. So
you could try it though. I mean, if it turns into a giant pile of thread that's unusable, okay, but at least we tried. It was just a blanket.
yeah, at
We
least
didn't
have
waste any real supplies or anything. So
yeah. If anything, you could fire a phaser at it, and hey, you have a fire to keep it warm. Bury some rocks around it so it keeps the air from blowing the fire out. Hey, you have your own little makeshift fire pit.
yeah, pretty much. So, just some more of those random little side thoughts. But what really gets me is when we come to the end, right? And you've got Kirk normal back together. He's fine. We got the transporter fixed. Now we can beam up Sulu. They're all frostbitten, but Dr. McCoy, I can't tell if you're drunk or not, but I'm going to heal this frostbite like that.
Right. It's like, oh, Dr. McCoy, that's I've honestly one of the worst doctors. One of the worst doctors in Starfleet.
Definitely inconsistent in his practice. But so Rand is on the bridge, and Kirk is he's kind of nice about it. He just tells her what happens, and or she
Yeah,
tries to explain to him what happened, and he just thanks her. He just says thank you. He doesn't try to make excuses, doesn't get
doesn't
into a big mess about it. He's just like thank you. But then Spock walks over and is like, that guy had some interesting qualities, didn't he? Whoa, that's
interesting. Interesting. So we're calling it we're calling it SA interesting qualities.
interesting. Yes. Since we
So
are on the Tiki Talks, we're calling grape
call them interesting.
interesting.
So that's what we're calling it now. Ah, Spock.
Again, this is just continuing with what we've been talking about in almost every episode so far. That for all of the complex social issues that this show attempts to tackle, the
Yeah.
rampant misogyny just keeps on going.
It's still there and
You
keeps on going
you could
and
choose
again,
the bear in every episode of TOS.
yeah. And again, it's partially kind of showing just how just horrible people can be. Um,
Yeah,
Even in the future, just we still can be horrible, misogynistic, and and again, this with Star Trek coming out at the time when it did, it made all of these issues of misogyny and racism and sexism. It told the story in the way that the people could accept it better rather than just hearing it, on the news and
right.
they feeling it being force fed to them. Now you can see clearly, oh, this is how it could play out because people are a lot more accepting in settings on starship on different planets or different dimensions or whatever the case may be,
Yep.
and seeing that and saying and looking at it and say, hey, that's wrong. They're a little more accepting to that, and as we were seeing in something that hits close to home to them, that realistic realistically could happen in, they're across the street from them, and there's
Yep.
just want to look at it and say, oh, that could never happen. Oh, that's not real. That could never happen. But they're a little more accepting with putting it deep into space or changing the
Right.
changing it to aliens or whatever the case may be. more accepting of that
Right.
than just, hey, you're a low life POS.
Exactly. And we're going to get to so many episodes, just not just in TOS, but some in, some of the in the, the big three once we get to those finally. But definitely, maybe it just makes it more palatable for
Yes.
people when you wrap it up in fancy futuristic kind of stuff. But I mean, we're still technically, which is interesting, it's more of a sign of the times the show was written, because we're gonna be coming up on an episode sometime in this series, the one where the woman that Kirk used to know, they like swap bodies, they do the whole Freaky Friday thing, and
Yeah.
she's really upset because she wanted to be a captain of a starship, but at that time women weren't allowed to be captains of starships in the Federation, or in Starfleet at least. And it's like, wow,
It's like,
I
oh,
get
all right. Alrighty.
Christopher Pike. We go back to the pilot. I'm just not used to having a woman on the bridge. Whoa, whoa,
Yeah. It's like, whoa, where did that
whoa,
come from?
whoa. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a bit harsh, but
And it's
the
like,
women, they
Spock
they
always with that. The women.
they were really, the writers of the time were really confused about what to do with the women. They just didn't know. So let's just abuse them.
So it's like,
That's
what do we do with this? The Yeoman Rand. What are we gonna do with her this week?
she's pretty
Ah,
and blonde. Let's traumatize her further. I'm surprised. I guess maybe it's just it's a feather in the cap to that character's strength to know that she served. I mean, because she does make small, brief cameos in both like Star Trek 3. She's in Star Trek 4 briefly. So she's still in Starfleet many years later. So good on you, girl, for sticking it out. Sorry
yeah.
you had to go through that. And I understand, Rand, why you picked the bear too, because Rand would pick the bear. I'm just
Oh,
saying. She'd
Rand,
pick the bear.
she would straight up pick a space bear. You
Space
straight,
bear.
straight up pick the space bear.
Hey, Spock, what'd you say your teddy bears were called? I'm going straight to Vulcan and getting me one.
Yeah. And besides, you never know. You could befriend the bear, and the bear would lead you out the woods. For all you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of women, when we get to next week's episode, the name, it's in the title. It's Mud's Women.
Uh, Harry Mudd.
Harry Mudd.
Oh,
Harry
we get our
Mudd.
first introduction of Harry Mudd.
Uh,
I can honestly say, when I first got my first taste of Harry Mudd, it left a bad taste in my mouth. I
he's
I did not like Harry Mudd.
I don't know why he became such a staple in the series, to the fact where not only was he recreated in a future series, I think um he made an appearance in maybe it was Discovery.
Yeah, it was in
Because that
Discovery. Yeah, he was in an
that'd be
episode of
the time
Discovery.
period.
Yep.
That would be the time period. And then he showed up several times in the animated series as well. So because
Yeah.
he was only in two episodes of the original series.
Yeah,
The Mud's
I
Women, and then the one with all the androids on the planet. All, again, more women, more like 700 women that all look the same.
yeah, I hated Harry Mudd. I did not like him at all. I did not like Harry Mudd at all.
Well, well then maybe keep a side subject or two in mind for next week if we get really distracted from Mud's Women, because I could see that
Oh no,
happening. I
cause
mean, it's
see, with Mudd's women, no, I want to wear into that one because I I
we could just
hated
tear it
it.
apart, because
I
the
hate
whole
it.
episode, it's just nothing but misogyny, the whole episode for the most part.
Oh my god, that he's one of those guys that just it makes you just feel wrong on just everything.
He's greasy. He's one of those people I want nothing to do with. Like, he's the kind of man that I would meet in public and be like, no, no, I'm not interested. So I don't even want you to talk to me. I don't care what you have to say. There's nothing you can do. You can have all the money in the world. Bear, please. Waiter, bear, please. I have to go.
Yes, exactly. It's like it it's
Well,
like
we'll have some fun with that one, folks, next week. Because again, it's a whole episode of misogyny. Um, we do have another commitment coming up here in about 20 minutes, though.
that is true.
So
In
we
about
should
20
probably
minutes or so, we will be live again on the Villain's View. So for those out there
correct.
that is watching and listening, you can see our lovely faces again in about 20 minutes or so, and we'll be talking about something. I forgot what we were talking about.
I don't know. I just know who the guest is. But hey, if you all want to jump over there and see. But other than that, we'll see you next week for episode 7 of the Rules of Nerdquisition with Mud's Women.
Mud's women.
Mud's Women.
So,
Other than
uh,
that, I'm Gretchen.
I am
That's Andy.
angry.
And we'll catch you on the Villain's View.
All right, take care, everybody.
Recording stopped.
Okay. All right. Hey, real